about 310 million people. Of those 310 million people, there are 232 million that are eligible voters. Of those 232 million, only 135 million voted in the 2008 election. So that's about 57% of the eligible voters. Of those eligible voters, 21% of them are between the ages of 18 and 29. In 2008, only 17% of those 18 to 29-year-olds actually voted, which means 21 million people didn't vote. The voter turnout rate for young adults is extremely lacking. And so when I use the term young adults, I'm talking about the age group between the ages of 18 and 29, and I'll kind of interchange between that and youth voters. So the three reasons that I think are the biggest reason why the young adult votes are lacking are because of the lack of appeal to young adults, the lack of faith in the government by young adults, and the repression that young adults receive from certain groups. The first thing being the lack of appeal. Basically, like our young adult history has shown that a lot of them don't get up and go to the polls to vote. So a lot of the candidates are aiming to appeal to people that are voting. Because of that history, the candidates are going to continue to want to push forth policies and what forth that are going to benefit the people that are going to get up and go out and vote for them. So it's kind of like a continuous cycle where we don't go out and vote, so they're going to continue to appeal to the people that are going to get out and go vote for them. Another reason why they lack appeal is because they think that like kind of the pressing issues don't really apply to them. We hear things like Medicare and Social Security, and as a young adult, like, we don't think that those things would really have an effect on us. But what a lot of people fail to realize is that nearly 50% of young adults went without health care last year. Some point last year, 50% of young adults didn't have health care. Another big reason why there's a lack of appeal is the lack of education about policies and what have you. I think a lot of us have seen, like, walking around on campus, especially when it gets close to voting time, there's people that are out there trying to get people registered to vote, and that's kind of only half the battle. Yeah, we register, but are we really learning what we're going to go out and vote for? And so, yeah, we have that opportunity to register to vote, but then what about the people that aren't in college? What about the young adults that are within the workforce? They not only don't really get the opportunity to register, but then they also lack the education in the policies of voting. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. The second reason why I think that young adult voting is lacking is the lack of faith in the government. One word that kind of sums that up is political or cynicism. And basically what cynicism means is, well, political cynicism is the lack of belief or faith in the government or its officials, and you just kind of don't believe that those things are beneficial. I think a lot of us grew up learning about things like Watergate, and I think all of us remember things like the Clinton-Lewinsky scandal, and then even more recently, the whole thing with Bush and Al Gore, and kind of the misuse of voting and things like that. So those are just a few of the things that kind of contribute to the cynicism that young adults have about the government. Another belief that young adults have is that their one vote won't really do anything. Between the ages of 18 and 24, they're even less likely to vote. In 2008, only half of 18-year-olds registered to vote. So if we even simply voted at our ratio, 7 million more people would vote. So as I said earlier, 21 million people didn't vote from our age group. So 21 million and that 7 million, so I think it's kind of illogical to say that your one vote doesn't count. The third reason why I think that a lot of young adults don't vote is kind of the repression that they receive from other age groups. I read a lot about, from like a conservative Republican site, about how they think that young adults especially in colleges, are just going to vote liberally. And one of the things that they said was that we were without life experience, that we didn't really deserve the right to vote because we lacked the life experience that a lot of them had. So it's just one of the groups that kind of is serving to repress young adults from voting. And then a lot of the places kind of describe young adults as lazy and lacking motivation. And if you look at our history and we don't go out and vote, I think it's kind of a logical conclusion. And then another reason that young adults are repressed is not even a group of people, but technology. Like, we've gone so far away from using things like newspapers that were such a big deal. I mean, I don't even want to say way back when, but it kind of is. Where a lot of people were on the same page, like where everyone received the same newspaper, so everyone had the same mindset or even were exposed to the same information. And now we have things like the internet and television at our fingertips, so we kind of can choose the things that we look at and learn about. And so, in essence, we get away from major issues. Young adult voting continues to decline, and the lack of appeal, the lack of faith in the government, and the repression are just a few of the many reasons why. So long as young adults continue to refuse to vote, politicians are going to continue to appeal to those that will vote. So unless we get out and go vote, the cycle is just going to continue.